Hello and welcome to the second episode of my first playthrough titled The Wrath of the Northmen. If you watched the episode 1, thank you for coming back, and if you're new to the series, please hit the like and subscribe button for future episodes in the series. So, before we kick off episode 2, here's a brief catch up from last week's episode. We started in 1867 as the Earl of Dorset. We declared war on the Earl of Buckingham, before winning and stealing his land. In 1868, my brother died. We inherited all of his lands and wars in East Anglia and Northumbria. Focusing on East Anglia, we defeated Sigurd as well as Ivar's army, stabbing his trusted general in the eye. In the same battle, we captured Ivar's son and forced him to work for me. Although Northumberland fell, East Anglia didn't. We decided to expand our lands and take Gwent, and then to take East Anglia for ourselves. We declined the unthinkable bargain, which led to single combat, ultimately ended in defeat. Being salty, I retaliated with war, which we lost, but not before we captured and executed Sigurd, Snake in the Eye. Uber, the son of Ragnar, also died because of his battle wounds. So there you have it, all caught up. The date is the 1st of January 1882. Let the episode begin. After losing to Hitzberg in the last episode, I've come to the realisation that in order for me to beat him, I need more men. As a result, we've decided to invade the small pockets of Wales and expand our land. We're going to start with the coastal region of Morganwig and push up so that we can assault the factions to the left hand side. My large army quickly make their way over towards both settlements before this house, and we besiege them. It's not long before we manage to win the war and take a new piece of land for ourselves. With this extra piece of land and the men that it gives me towards my levy, I've decided that now's the opportunity to declare war once again. If you look, you'll see that they have an inferior amount of troops and we have almost double the men that they have. So hopefully we're going to just simply walk over them this time. Our armies have now been raised, and with the help of my wife and a few other allies, we're hopefully going to defeat Hitzberg this time. As soon as my wife joins the war, Hitzberg sends his army of 2,000 strong towards her 400 men army. We've decided that we're going to send our 4,000 men straight over there into Nottinghamshire, and hopefully we're going to defeat the Vikings once and for all. Hitzberg manages to defeat my wife's army. Since he's very intelligent, he drops his army back into a better position for him to defend. My 4,000 strong army is going to have a lot of work to do if we are going to defeat the Vikings in this position. Although the battle is pretty even, we're just going to have to sit and wait and find out what happens. We've been in this position before, only to lose to Hitzberg's intelligence when it comes to battles. Against the overwhelming odds, we managed to lose this battle. However, there is a good thing to this. Hitzberg has lost almost 1,000 men, and we've only lost 1,200 men, which means that we now have a 3-to-1 ratio of troops against Hitzberg. Perhaps this isn't as bad as we first thought. As my armies head back up north for round 2, the battle begins, only for my firstborn son to die straight away in the battle. The grief of losing my son didn't do us any favours, and we've lost the next battle. However, my son's wife was pregnant during his death, and she has given birth to a son, my grandson, the new heir of Wessex. I've decided to marry off some of my sons and daughters. This has gained me some valuable alliances and extra men. My allies are now taking over settlements that are owned by Hitzberg, and we are assisting them. With my new allies and their forces, there is no way Hitzberg can win this battle now. The battle starts going in our favour, we're soon to be victorious. Hitzberg makes the mistake of splitting his army. My allies manage to pick off a pocket of men in the north and wipe them out immediately. With a huge force of 5,800 men, we managed to push Hitzberg and capture him, trying to take the capital of Mercia. With a massive battle ahead of us, there's only a matter of time before we can defeat Hitzberg once and for all and claim victory. This time Hitzberg is no match for my forces, and we quickly overwhelm them. While trying to escape, we capture Hitzberg, and this should end the war. Looking at the enemy Viking leader in a cell, I'm reminded about all the times he's embarrassed me over the last few years. Yes, I could end the war here, or I could just execute him and continue. With the great military mind of Pittsburgh now not in the picture, his men simply don't stand a chance. We defeat his men in battle time after time after time after time. For the first time, I actually feel like I'm going to rid the Vikings in England once and for all. After a further 6 months of fighting, we finally managed to defeat the Vikings once and for all and claim victory over Jorvik. By winning the war, we actually gained a significant amount of land in the north, and we also managed to bring life back to the House of Northumbria. In my quest to become king, I know the House of Northumbria stands in my way of this dream. I declare war on them and try to take the county of Durham for myself. In a funny twist of fate, the house that was defeated by the House of Jorvik have now teamed up with them to try and repel my invasion. It doesn't take long for my army to beat the Northumbrians and march on their capital and begin the siege. By doing so, I actually managed to take a valuable hostage that ultimately ends a war before it's even begun. This means that I can take the county of Durham for myself, and I'm one step closer to becoming King of England. By defeating the Northumbrians, West Riding has been created. This faction is led by the son of Hitzvirk and the grandson of Ragnar Lothbrok. Since he's created his own faction, it means I don't have to wait a ridiculous amount of time to declare war on him because of a treaty that we already have in place. The Battle of Leeds gets underway, and before we know it, we've quickly defeated and overwhelmed the army of West Riding. All we have to do now is besiege and take over the settlement, and the victory is ours. But before we can do that, another small army marches up north to try and defeat our army besieging Leeds. Unfortunately for them, we have the superior numbers and we quickly overwhelm and defeat them once more. With Leeds successfully taken over, we now head on to the fort in Bolton. We quickly overwhelm and take the fort in Bolton and end the war. The vast amount of battles though has taken its toll on Alfred, and he has another mental breakdown. The year is 1891 and Alfred can finally grab his dream of becoming a king. He forges a new kingdom and makes himself the King of Wessex. Long live the king. Now that I'm king, I've noticed that Jorvik has fallen. The once great house has split into 3 separate houses, one called Westmoreland, one called Cumberland, and one called Lancashire. My first act of king will be to declare war on all 3 of these houses and take their land and add it to my ever-growing empire. I split my army in 2. The first army is going to push Westmoreland and the second is going to push the House of Lancashire. Hopefully we can take both of these houses before moving up and securing the final house in the north. Both of my armies are quickly victorious. It's only a matter of time now before we take the first 2 plots of land and we can move up to take the final piece. You'll also notice that a raiding party has taken out the army of Cumberland for me in the north, so hopefully I'll just be able to walk over there and take it for myself. The first siege has been completed and now we have won the war. Westmoreland has become part of our own territory and we march the army that was besieging it up to take Cumberland for ourselves. The army that we sent up north has got itself into a little bit of trouble. It's currently battling the men of Cumberland, however the Battle of Lancashire has now been won. Therefore we can send our reinforcement up to aid our troops in the north. With the reinforcements arriving just in time, it's only a matter of time before Cumberland will join our empire. With our armies claiming yet another victory, it's only a matter of time before they successfully besiege Cumberland and add it to our empire. We've now added Cumberland to our empire, and as you can see from the overview of the map of England, there's one large area that we need to focus our attention to, and that is the Kingdom of Mercia. But don't worry, I have a plan for that. We're going to attempt to offer Mercia vassalage and add them to our ranks. However, before we can do that, we need to get the opinion of the leader of Mercia into positive so he will join us. We have a little bit of time to kill before Mercia will hopefully become our vassal, so here's the plan. We're going to take a little bit more land in Wales, and by the time we've won the wars in Wales, hopefully Mercia will be ready to become our vassal. Things never go easy for our king Alfred. His wife has now died, and this has plunged him into stress level 2. This is not good for the health of our king. We're going to have to take some time to work on our king's stress levels and health. The land grab in Wales has gone very well. We managed to grab the 2 pieces of land that we were seeking in Wales, and now Mercia is ready to become our vassal. All we have to do now is wait for the petty king of Mercia to accept our offer and become our vassal. And there we have it. We managed to take such a large piece of land without having to lose a single man. That's what I call a diplomatic success story. Since Mercia became my vassal, we've taken a little bit of time out to deal with Alfred's stress. Now that we're on stress level 0, we've now decided to gain a little bit more land in Wales and try and take the Kingdom of Wales. Taking over the capital was very easy. Now my plan is to send one group of men up north to deal with the army, and we're going to send our second army over to the next town and begin the siege. We managed to beat the army quite easily, so all I'm going to do now is send that army that won the battle down south and capture the last town. The Welsh did put up a good fight, however it was only a matter of time before we fully defeated all the armies and we managed to besiege and take all the settlements in the territory, thus winning the war and taking the land for ourselves. 30 long years have gone since Alfred started his campaign, and he's now taken over the majority of England and the majority of Wales. Not only has he accomplished himself and become King of Wessex, he's also rid all of the Vikings that once resided in England. Only the Vikings in Scotland now remain. Alfred has managed to outlive all of the main characters from the start of this series. So the only thing I can say now is thank you for watching episode 2, Wrath of the Northmen. If you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe button and tune in next week for episode 3. Thank you.